Welcome back to part 2 and the conclusion of our study on the book Non-Organic Beings by Master Mohammad Taheri. In the first part, we explored the basic definitions and concepts. Now in this episode, we dive deeper into the specific interferences of these beings in human life and the fundamental solutions offered by Arfan Halga, Inter-universalism. This knowledge, published by the Inter-Universal Academy and Press in Toronto, is a key to understanding the hidden layers of our existence. Join us. 7. Captivation keepers. Their role is to keep individuals in a state of mental or spiritual captivation or obsession. They can cloud a person's judgment and keep them focused on lower-level desires or false ideas. 2. Non-organic beings. Type B. Type B. Non-organic beings are essentially the souls of deceased human beings who, for various reasons, have not moved on to the next stage of their existence in the afterlife. When a human body dies, the soul and the mind, which we call the psyche, separate from the physical body. Under normal conditions, the soul should pass through the intermediate world and continue its journey. However, certain factors can cause the soul to remain earthbound. General characteristics of Type B, non-organic beings. They once had a physical experience and an organic body. They possess human memories, attachments, and emotions. They are often confused or unaware of their own death. They seek to reconnect with the physical world through living human beings. Factors that lead to becoming a Type B: being intense attachments, strong emotional or material ties to the world, wealth, loved ones, or unfinished business. Sudden or violent death. When a person dies unexpectedly, the mind may not realize the body is gone. Lack of knowledge, not knowing about the journey of the soul, can lead to fear and hesitation to move toward the light. Negative karma, or heavy offenses. The weight of certain actions can hold the soul in a lower vibration. How Type B beings interact with humans. These souls often seek shelter in the minds or energy fields of living people. They do this because they are looking for a way to experience the physical world again or to find energy. This can lead to a phenomenon called possession or interference, where the living person begins to exhibit traits, habits, or even physical symptoms that belong to the deceased person. The impact of Type B interference, mental disorders. Many cases of schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder are actually the result of several Type B beings occupying one human mind. Sudden habit changes. An individual might suddenly develop a taste for certain foods or behaviors that were not theirs before. Energy depletion. The presence of these beings can drain the life force of the host. The interference of non-organic beings. The interference of non-organic beings in human life is not a simple matter of good or evil. It is a complex interaction between different levels of consciousness. When a person's defensive shield is weakened, these beings can find a way to enter their system. This can lead to various mental and physical disorders that are often difficult to diagnose with conventional medicine. The defensive shields. Every human being is naturally protected by several layers of energy and consciousness, which we call defensive shields. These shields prevent the entry of foreign frequencies and non-organic beings. However, certain actions and states of mind can cause holes or cracks in these shields. Fear and anxiety. Intense fear is one of the most common ways these shields are breached. Use of drugs and alcohol. These substances artificially lower the vibration of the protective field. Occult practices, engaging in spells, summoning, or improper meditation techniques can open doors that are hard to close. Negative emotions, Long-term anger, hatred, and deep depression weaken the spiritual immunity. The impact on the mind and psyche. Non-organic beings, especially type B, do not have a physical brain, but they have a mind. When they enter a human's field, they try to use the host's brain and nervous system to process their own desires and memories. Thought injection. The host may experience thoughts that feel foreign or contrary to their personality. Emotional turbulence. Sudden bursts of crying, laughing, or rage without an external cause. Psychosomatic illnesses. Pains in the body that have no medical explanation but are actually the shadow of the symptoms. The type B being had before death. Non-organic beings and science. From the perspective of inter-universalism, the existence of these beings is not a matter of faith, but a matter of observation. We call for a new branch of science that can study the consciousness field. Just as we cannot see radio waves with the naked eye, but can see their effects through a receiver, we can observe the effects of non-organic beings through their impact on human behavior and health. The law of attraction of frequencies, like attracts like. A person who constantly dwells on negative thoughts or is involved in pollution of consciousness creates a frequency that is attractive to lower-level non-organic beings. To be free from them, one must not only seek cleansing, but also work on changing their own inner frequency. Non-organic beings and religion. In many religious texts, especially the Quran, these beings are explicitly mentioned under the name of jinn. The Quran describes them as being created from smokeless fire, a different form of energy, before the creation of man. It also mentions that they have their own communities, beliefs, and even messengers. The relationship between humans and jinn has always been a point of caution in religions. Humans are generally warned not to seek contact with them, as it often leads to deviation and harm. In Inter-universalism, we confirm this caution by explaining that the frequency of jinn and humans are different, and a clash of frequencies can damage the human nervous system. The concept of possession. Possession is a state where a non-organic being, either type A or type B, gains control over the human mind or body. This is not just a psychological state, but a biological reality. The non-organic being uses the human's brain biowaves to manifest its own will. Total possession, where the person loses their own identity and acts entirely as the other being. Partial possession, where the person experiences inner voices, sudden impulses, or physical tics. Spells and occult practices. Talismans. A spell is essentially a command given to a non-organic being, usually type A, to perform a specific task. This is done through certain words, symbols, or rituals that resonate with the being's frequency. However, there is a heavy price to pay for this. The person who uses spells, the practitioner, and the person for whom the spell is made, both open their defensive shields to these beings. Once a door is opened for a specific purpose, it remains open for other interferences as well. This is why those involved in occultism often suffer from severe mental and family problems. The eye of the soul and perception, mental and family problems. Non-organic beings are usually invisible to the physical eye because their frequency is outside the visible spectrum of light. However, they can be perceived by the eye of the soul or third eye. In some mental states, or under the influence of certain links, a person might start seeing shadows, lights, or figures. It is important to know that seeing them does not mean you have control over them. In fact, it often means they have gained a degree of access to your perception system. Vulnerability factors. Why are some people more vulnerable than others? Pollution of consciousness. engaging in behaviors that create negative vibrations, genetic predisposition. Sometimes the holes in the defensive shields are inherited from parents who were involved in occultism or had severe interferences. Environmental factors. Living or working in places where rituals were performed, or where a great deal of negative emotion, like a hospital or a prison, is concentrated. Defensive radiation, Tashasho-e Defayi. This most effective way to be freed from the interference of non-organic beings is not through struggle or fear, but through the use of defensive radiation. In Inter-universalism, this is a specific software-based protection that is activated through the Inter-universal consciousness network. When this radiation is established, it creates a high-frequency field around the individual that non-organic beings cannot tolerate. It is like a light that makes the environment impossible for those who dwell in darkness to remain. The process of cleansing, exorcism versus linkage. Unlike traditional methods that may involve physical force or rituals, the inter-universal approach is purely based on consciousness. Linkage, the individual or a practitioner connects to the network. Scanning, the consciousness of the universe identifies the foreign frequencies, type A or B. Exit, the beings are guided out of the human system. For type B, they are often guided toward the light to continue their own evolution. And for type A, they are moved to their own specific dimensions. The mental body pollution, one of the key concepts in this book, is that our mind is like a software. When a non-organic being enters, it is like a virus that infects the software. Even after the being is removed, the shadow or the trace of its presence may remain in the mental body. This is why consciousness therapy is needed to fully restore the person's mental health and delete the negative programs left behind. Ethics and responsibility. The knowledge of non-organic beings is not for curiosity or for gaining power. It is for the purpose of healing and service. Those who use this knowledge to scare people or to claim special powers are themselves falling into a trap. The ultimate goal of understanding these beings is to reach a state of peace and unity within the inter-universal consciousness. Conclusion: non-organic beings are a part of the vast reality of the universe. While their interference can cause suffering, it also serves as a reminder of our vulnerability and our need for spiritual protection. By strengthening our inter-universal insight and maintaining the integrity of our defensive shields through right thoughts and connection, we can live a life free from these hidden influences. The mission of Taheri Peace Organization. This knowledge is shared to bring awareness to humanity. By understanding the invisible factors that affect our behavior and health, we can move toward a more conscious and peaceful world. We have reached this end of this two-part series. We hope this profound insight from Master Mohammad Ali Taheri's teachings has opened a bright path toward understanding your mental bodies. If you wish to be liberated from these non-organic viruses, please leave a comment so we can explain how to utilize consciousness fields, clearing the path to freedom for you, your children, and your loved ones. Furthermore, a dedicated video on how to benefit from these consciousness fields will be released soon. For more teachings and to purchase the required books, please visit the official Taheri Academy website. We sincerely thank you for joining us in this program. Until we meet again on the path of light and awareness. Goodbye.